morning. If you are a replay viewer, we want to thank you so much for coming in, because we know it's deliberate that you chose to come on in, and we hope that you find really good content here. We think we provide pretty good content, and we'd like you to come back and join us on a live broadcast if you can. We'd like to thank all of our live broadcast viewers. And just to tell you a little bit about who we are Homagi, a nonprofit organization out of Houston, Texas. We support family caregivers who are supporting their loved ones on a mental health journey and on their journey to mental health. So we've been having lots of technical difficulty with our Periscope. I don't know what's going on. I've been watching a few scopes where, please excuse me, I'm not driving, I'm a passenger. But been watching a few periscopes for the past few days that there have been some of the same and similar complaints that people are experiencing, getting kicked out of their scopes and not being able to connect. And I don't know what happened yesterday, but for me, it has. Thank you, WFT Coaching. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for sharing with your followers. And so yesterday was real stressful with that compounded on top of everything else that was going on. And I talk a lot about on our scopes about spiritual battles in addition to your mental health journey. I mean, as a Christian, people who are in the Christian faith understand what I mean when I say, when you decide to be obedient, you are hit with the most extreme amounts of adversity. So we have had our share we've been under extreme amounts of adversity. So when I talk to you about gratitude in spite of the trouble, I'm coming to you from a place of knowing. And my husband's here, so I'll be having him chime in as he sees fit as well. But we to give you a little background about who we are two family caregivers for our son. We started off as full-time family caregivers. Our son, who was diagnosed as bipolar, and then later on he was diagnosed as schizoaffective. And so we were on that journey with him full-time for the last 3.5 years. And so we've had a lot of experiences as mental health family caregivers that we were able to actually share with others. Do you need me to restart? That we were actually able to share with others and give them some insight into being a family caregiver, a mental health family caregiver. As when we started, we didn't have those resources. And if you search Google, you'll find that there are not many resources available to mental health family caregivers. So I'll discuss more about that tonight. Angelo, thank you so much for joining. I'll discuss more about that tonight. I don't want to get off topic. I want to give you the content that you came into the scope for, and that is having gratitude in the face of trouble, in spite of the trouble that you may be facing in your life. So what people most of the time, and we are all guilty of it at some point in our lives, because it's easy to get distracted by what we're going through and then miss the blessings that we do have in our possession. So, as a mental health family caregiver, many times we are overwhelmed and just submerged in stress and just trying to function on a day-to-day basis, being a support system to our loved one. And so, being the case, the stress and the stress and the amount of mental, physical, and emotional resources that we must spend on a day-to-day basis can be distracting. And so we can get to a point where we can start to feel downtrodden. We can get to a point where we can stop looking at, I have a roof over my head. I have a job. Our bills are paid. There's food in the fridge. And I used an example this morning on one of my posts about gratitude. And I said Instagram is a perfect way to give an example of gratitude and being ungrateful at points, because we look at it, well, I don't have this and I don't have that, and I need more of this and I need a little more of that, and if I had more of this, life would be better. And I used the example this morning, you're holding your smartphone right now. I don't know what device you're using to be able to pick up this scope, but the device you're using means at some point in some time, you've had money. You've been able to either purchase it or someone has blessed you with it as a gift. Then you can go a little bit deeper and a little further into that, and you can say, okay, well, you have to have a data plan, right, in order to be able to broadcast, in order to be able to pick up these broadcasts. So if you have a data plan, then that means you paid your bill. And if you didn't pay your bill, someone paid it for you, right? So that's a blessing. And we have to look for those kernels of faith throughout the day for our lives, because we can get so caught up in the day-to-day struggle of just living, of just trying to make a living for your family. And this is within and outside the mental health community. I mean, struggle is not, selective. It just comes in different forms for different people. So when you look at your life and you say, wow, my car broke down, I don't have any gas to get to work today, I need some money to pay this bill. Okay, that's evident. We know that. We ourselves know what our struggles are. Now, what if we change our focus for the moment? What if we're able to turn that around and look at it and say, but God. But God. I had food in my belly this morning, but God. I have a roof over my head, but God. I have my health. I'm in my right mind. I have the use of my limbs. I am able-bodied, but God. So when I come on and I talk to you about having a spiritual foundation to work from, to operate from, as a mental health family caregiver, as a survivor, and frankly, within the mental health community and outside the mental health community, your life has to have a basis to come back to. Because when everything else is going to heck in a handbasket around you, when everything is falling apart and everything that you can see, that you can possibly touch, looks to be desolate, you need to have a faith that is unshakable and unmovable, that will say, you know what? I don't care what my situation looks like. I know God is working it out for me. I know He has already worked it out. So all I have to do is to keep walking. All I have to do is just to keep believing. And I know you can say, well, that's easier to say when you don't have my struggles. That's right. You're right. But you don't have my struggles. You don't know what I've been through, right? So we all have something that we can say, well, you know what? I'm struggling with this and I'm struggling with that. You don't understand how difficult it is for me. No, I may not understand how difficult it is for you in your situation, but I can empathize with you. I can relate. I can understand that there are things that are going on in my life that could be stressful to me, and that could put me in a position to compromise my faith as well. So when I say you have to have an unshakable faith, you have to have an unbelievable spiritual foundation underneath you in order to operate in your faith and to be able to continue working regardless to what it looks like. That means when you say, God, I don't have a job, I need a job, that means you don't say your prayer about, Lord, I need a job, and then you sit down and watch reality shows all day on DVR. That means you don't ask God for I need food for my family, and then you sit there waiting for it to drop out the sky. There are things that you have to do, that you have to put into motion in order to make this faith, the works has to come in addition to the faith. If you want something and you're asking God for it, you have to make the movement yourself. God already worked it out down the line. Whether you realize it or not, He's already worked it out. You just have to get up and go get it. So today, take the time, look around you. Look at what you do have. Make it a point today not to look at what you don't have. Don't look at what I still need. Because God, I thank you for what you gave me. And first of all, my eyes opened and I took my breath this morning. Somebody didn't wake up. Somebody wanted a little more time with their family and they didn't get that. So you are already called blessed the moment you open your eyes and planted your 2 feet on the floor in front of your bed or wherever you got up from. That was already blessed. So that is how you find gratitude in the face of trouble. You look for what you do have. You already know what you don't. Look for what you do have. What has God blessed you with today? What do you have? Because you got something. So thank you so much for stopping in to this broadcast. I hope you are able to or did share it with your friends or your followers. And you can come back this evening at 7 p.m. because I have a word for you this evening in the testimony in which we have been watching God work. And when I say you want to be there to hear about this testimony, it's 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will be sharing that testimony, and hopefully I'll have my son, if he's not working, I'll have him on the phone and he can give his part of the testimony, because this is really watching God work. And it shows what happens when you stand on your faith regardless to what is going on around you. So I end my broadcast and my post by saying, may today bless you with whatever makes you successful. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Don't look at what's making your neighbor successful. Don't look at what's working for someone else. Look at what is going to make you successful. And then get in there and put some skin, sweat, and elbow grease into it. Because that is the only way you are successful. Not sitting down wondering how you going to get out of this time. Wondering how am I going to make it this time. You got to put the sweat equity in. God's already worked it out. So we love you guys. We pray often for our family caregivers and the mental health community. And we want you to know that it is our goal as well to make mental health a open topic that people can talk about openly and honestly, and that people can get help and stop suffering in silence. So we'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you guys have a good day. Be blessed.